There's a ghost flying over enemy territory right now, and you'll never see it coming. Not on radar, not with the naked eye, not with anything. It's been circling above some of the most heavily defended airspace on the planet for the last 24 hours, completely undetected, watching everything, recording everything, and quietly changing the entire calculus of modern warfare. And the scariest part? Most people don't even know it exists. This is the RQ-180. And if you think stealth technology peaked with the F-22 or the B-2 bomber, you're about to have your mind blown. Because what Northrop Grumman has created here isn't just another aircraft. It's a fundamental reimagining of how America fights wars. It's the invisible quarterback calling plays from 70,000 feet. It's the eyes of a hunter-killer system so advanced that enemies won't know they're being hunted until the missiles are already in the air. And it represents a capability gap so massive that rival nations are scrambling to catch up to something they can barely confirm exists. Let's talk about why the RQ-180 is a true game changer and why this ultra-classified drone might be the most important aircraft you've never heard of. Now, before we go further, you might be wondering if this aircraft even exists. The answer is probably, but it's complicated. The RQ-180 program has never been officially acknowledged by the U.S. Air Force or Northrop Grumman. There's no press release. There's no official designation. There are no photos from official sources. Everything we know comes from a combination of leaked budget documents, analyst reports, occasional sightings by aviation photographers near classified test sites, and a few very carefully worded statements from defense officials that stop just short of confirming the program exists. Aviation Week first reported on the program back in 2013, describing it as a classified unmanned aircraft designed for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions in contested airspace. Since then, the evidence has slowly accumulated. Budget line items with vague descriptions, testimonies to Congress that mention capabilities that could only come from a platform like the RQ-180, sightings of large, tailless flying wing aircraft near places like Area 51 and Plant 42 in Palmdale, California, where Northrop Grumman builds its most classified projects. The design itself is fascinating. Based on the limited information available, the RQ-180 appears to be a large flying wing, similar in concept to the B-2 bomber but optimized for stealth and endurance rather than payload capacity. It probably has a wingspan somewhere around 130 feet, which gives it incredible lift efficiency at high altitudes. The engines are likely embedded deep in the airframe with heavily shielded intakes and exhausts to minimize radar cross-section and infrared signature. Every surface, every angle, every curve has been calculated to scatter radar waves away from their source. And this is where Northrop Grumman's decades of experience with flying wing designs really pays off. They built the B-2. They understand the aerodynamics. They understand the stealth shaping. They know how to make an aircraft that's both stable in flight and virtually invisible to radar. The RQ-180 represents the culmination of all that knowledge, refined and perfected for a new mission set in a new era of warfare. Here's the thing about the Cold War spy planes that everyone loves to romanticize. The SR-71 Blackbird, the U-2, those legendary aircraft that could fly higher and faster than anything else in the sky. They were incredible pieces of engineering, no question, but they had one massive limitation that nobody really talks about. They couldn't stick around. The SR-71 would scream over enemy territory at Mach 3, snap some photos, and get the hell out before the missiles could catch up. It was a sprint, not a marathon. You got one pass, maybe two if you were lucky, and then you were gone. The intelligence you gathered was a snapshot, a moment in time, and by the time analysts pored over the imagery back at base, the entire tactical situation might have already changed. The RQ-180 doesn't run. It loiters, and that single word represents a revolutionary shift in intelligence gathering. This thing is what's called a high-altitude, long-endurance platform, or HALE for short. It's designed to fly straight into the most heavily defended, contested airspace on Earth, places like the airspace over China's eastern seaboard or deep into Russian territory, climb up to 70,000 feet and just park itself there for 24 hours. Maybe longer. We don't know the exact endurance because the program is so classified, but estimates suggest it could stay on station for an entire day, possibly more, without ever landing, without ever refueling, and without ever triggering a single radar warning. Think about what that means operationally. You're not getting a snapshot anymore. You're getting a movie. You're watching enemy forces move in real time. You're tracking convoys as they drive from base to deployment. You're monitoring air defense systems as they power up and power down. You're recording communication patterns, radar emissions, electronic signatures. You're building a complete dynamic picture of the battlefield that updates every single second. And the enemy has absolutely no idea you're up there watching. This is the ghost factor. The RQ-180 doesn't just have stealth technology, it has loitering stealth. And those two capabilities combined create something that has never existed before in military aviation. A persistent, invisible eye in the sky that can operate deep behind enemy lines for hours on end. The SR-71 was a Ferrari doing a high-speed pass. The RQ-180 is a predator sitting in the tall grass, completely still, completely silent, watching and waiting for the perfect moment. Now you might be on thinking, okay, that's cool, but we already have stealth aircraft. The F-22 is stealthy, the F-35 is stealthy, the B-2 bomber has been flying since the 90s. What makes the RQ-180 so special? And this is where it gets really interesting because the RQ-180 isn't just stealthy. It's designed to be the invisible quarterback of modern network-centric warfare. Let me explain what that means. Here's the problem with stealth fighters. They're incredibly good at not being seen, but the moment they want to see something, they risk giving themselves away. If an F-35 turns on its powerful AN/APG-81 radar to scan for targets, that's an active emission. It's like turning on a flashlight in a dark room. Sure, you can see, but now everyone knows exactly where you are. Enemy forces with sensitive receivers can detect that radar emission from hundreds of miles away, and suddenly your stealth advantage evaporates. The same thing happens if you start broadcasting radio communications. Every transmission is a potential way for the enemy to locate you, track you, and target you. So modern stealth fighters have to operate in a really constrained way. They can sneak in, they can strike, but they have to be very, very careful about when and how they use their sensors and radios. It's like being a ninja who's also blind and mute. You're hard to detect, but you're also operating with one hand tied behind your back. The RQ-180 solves this problem in the most elegant way possible. It acts as a stealthy Wi-Fi router in the sky. Think of it as the ultimate quarterback who never touches the ball but calls every single play. The RQ-180 flies deep into enemy territory. And because it's unmanned, because it's designed from the ground up for maximum stealth, and because it's not carrying weapons or trying to execute strike missions, it can be even stealthier than manned fighters. It can afford to be patient. It can afford to just sit there and passively collect data. Picture this. It's 2025 and 3 Chinese destroyers are moving into position near Taiwan. The RQ-180 spots them 12 hours before any satellite would, tracking their exact course and speed. It's using incredibly advanced sensors to soak up everything: electronic intelligence, signals intelligence, synthetic aperture radar, high-resolution cameras. It's mapping enemy positions, identifying anti-aircraft batteries, tracking mobile missile launchers, listening to communications, and building a complete real-time picture of the battle space. And here's the kicker. It's doing all of this while remaining almost completely electromagnetically silent. It's not broadcasting, it's just absorbing. Then when it has the data, it securely beams that information to friendly forces. F-35s flying 100 miles away suddenly have perfect targeting data without ever having to turn on their own radars. Navy destroyers can launch cruise missiles at targets they've never directly observed because the RQ-180 has already found them and confirmed their positions. Hypersonic missiles can be fired from safe standoff distances with complete confidence that they'll hit their targets because the RQ-180 is providing mid-course updates and terminal guidance. It finds the target, someone else kills it. That's the model, and it completely changes the equation of modern air warfare because now your strike platforms can remain fully stealthy while still having God's eye view of the battlefield. They're getting all the benefits of active sensors without any of the risks. The RQ-180 has taken on all the risk, but because it's so stealthy and so patient, the risk is manageable in a way it never could be for a manned aircraft trying to do the same job. And this brings us to what might be the most terrifying capability of the RQ-180. At least from an adversary's perspective. It's essentially the eyes for the new B-21 Raider stealth bomber. Think about this combination for a second. The B-21 is the most advanced strategic bomber ever built, designed to penetrate the most sophisticated air defenses on the planet. But even the B-21 doesn't want to fly directly over a heavily defended target if it doesn't have to. That's just basic operational sense. Why take unnecessary risks? So here's how it works. The RQ-180 ranges far ahead of the bomber, sometimes hundreds of miles ahead, flying a racetrack pattern over enemy territory. It's mapping out every anti-aircraft battery. It's locating every SAM site. It's identifying gaps in radar coverage. It's finding high-value targets like command centers, communication nodes, ammunition depots. It's doing all of this completely undetected. Then the B-21 comes in behind it, and because the RQ-180 has already done all the intelligence gathering, the bomber never has to turn on its own active sensors. It can fly what's called a fully passive mission. It receives targeting data from the RQ-180 through secure data links, launches its weapons from standoff range, and turns around to head home, all without ever lighting itself up on enemy radar screens. The enemy might not even know the B-21 was there until the bombs start landing. This is the ultimate hunter-killer duo. The RQ-180 is the hunter, patiently tracking prey from a position of complete invisibility. The B-21 is the killer, striking with overwhelming force from a safe distance. And the enemy is stuck in the middle, unable to see either aircraft, unable to defend against an attack they can't detect until it's far too late. Now here's where this gets geopolitical. Here's what keeps Chinese and Russian military planners up at night. They've spent billions of dollars developing sophisticated integrated air defense systems specifically to counter American stealth aircraft. The S-400, the S-500, long-range radars operating in multiple frequencies, overlapping coverage zones, mobile launchers that can relocate quickly. It's all designed to create an impenetrable shield that even F-22s and F-35s would struggle to penetrate, but the RQ-180 doesn't care. It's designed from the start to operate in exactly that environment. It's not trying to dash in and out like a strike fighter. It's designed to settle in for the long haul, flying slow racetrack patterns at the edge of space above most of the atmosphere, where the air is thin and the coverage from ground-based radars starts to get spotty. And because it's not carrying weapons, because it's optimized purely for stealth and endurance, its radar cross-section is likely even smaller than manned stealth aircraft. While exact figures remain classified, defense analysts believe the RQ-180 might have a radar cross-section comparable to a small bird or even an insect at certain angles and frequencies. That means even if a radar does get a return, it's going to be dismissed as noise, as clutter, as atmospheric interference. The system is designed to filter out returns that small because otherwise operators would be drowning in false positives every time a flock of geese flew by. And even if someone does suspect something is up there, what are they going to do about it? You can't send fighters to 70,000 feet. Most surface-to-air missiles struggle at that altitude, and even if you could get one up there, you'd be shooting at a target you can't reliably track, that's barely showing up on your scopes, and that has all the time in the world to see your launch and calmly maneuver out of the way. This is the checkmate scenario. The RQ-180 creates a situation where even knowing it might be up there doesn't help you. You can suspect all you want. You can't do anything about it. And that psychological factor alone is a massive strategic advantage. Enemy commanders have to operate under the assumption that everything they're doing is being watched, that every movement is being recorded, that every communication is being intercepted, even if they can't prove it. That creates hesitation. That creates doubt. And in warfare, hesitation gets you killed. The implications of this technology extend far beyond any single conflict. We're talking about a platform that could fundamentally reshape the balance of power in regions like the South China Sea, the Taiwan Strait, the Baltic states, anywhere American interests might come into conflict with peer or near-peer adversaries. The RQ-180 gives the United States the ability to maintain persistent surveillance over areas that were previously considered too dangerous for manned reconnaissance and too difficult for satellites to adequately cover. Because here's the thing about satellites, they're predictable. They follow fixed orbits. Enemy forces know exactly when American spy satellites are overhead, and they can simply stop whatever sensitive activity they're doing, cover it up, move things into hardened shelters, and wait for the satellite to pass. 30 minutes later, it's business as usual. The RQ-180 doesn't have that. Limitation: it can stay on station for an entire day. There's no predictable schedule. There's no way to know when it's watching and when it's not. That forces adversaries to maintain operational security constantly, which is exhausting, expensive, and ultimately impossible to sustain. This is the true game changer. Not just the technology itself, but the operational flexibility and strategic advantage it provides. The RQ-180 isn't replacing other intelligence platforms. It's filling a gap that nothing else can fill, providing a capability that simply didn't exist before. Persistent, stealthy, long-endurance surveillance and reconnaissance deep inside contested airspace. It's the kind of capability that changes how wars are planned, how battles are fought, and how adversaries calculate their chances of success. And here's the final piece that should really make you think. The RQ-180 that we're talking about right now, the one that aviation analysts have been piecing together from scraps of information, is probably already operational. It's probably been flying classified missions for years, which means the next generation is likely already in development. Whatever comes after the RQ-180 is going to be even more capable, even stealthier, even more autonomous. We're watching the future of warfare take shape in real time, and most people have no idea it's even happening. So the next time you hear about tensions in the South China Sea or Eastern Europe, remember, there's probably a ghost up there right now, 70,000 feet above the action, watching everything, recording everything, and quietly changing the rules of the game. The invisible quarterback is calling plays from the edge of space, and modern warfare will never be the same.